thing on my camera. Not sure what it is or how it got there. So I don't know how to fix it. All right, we are live on both, Mary. Let's get rid of this. Okay, hey everybody. How's everyone doing on TikTok? Thank you for the hearts. Keep tapping that screen. Share this live so other people can join in with us. Drop a comment. Follow my channel, please. Same thing on Instagram. If you're able to share this live, please do so. Looks like we are live on Facebook and YouTube. So welcome, everyone. Things a little nutty. Sorry, I'm starting late. I had to break down. I had an event here and I had to break down the entire filming set and I had to put it back together again today. So that never goes well. This may be the last day I actually film at this particular location in the property because we're going to be doing more events here and, the off season is wrapping up. So love the set. Say goodbye to the set. I think this is probably it. I'm going to have to move to another room so I don't have to keep dealing with this. So looks like we're doing well. If everyone could give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you can hear me and see me all right on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook at Ivy Angela Rivera, Facebook at Ivy Rivera Psychic Medium, and YouTube at Ask Ivy. If you guys are tuning in from anywhere other than YouTube, I do ask that you switch over to my YouTube at Ask Ivy because it is the platform I'm always trying to build and focus on the most. All right. It's also the only place where my account is not being duplicated and people pretending to be me are not scamming thousands of dollars out of people. So I want to honor YouTube in that as well. Just a reminder on that note, there has been an uptick in fake accounts and the scams are getting better and better every day. So just a reminder, I will never solicit a reading from you. I'm never like, hey, babe, give me $15 and I'll give you a message from your granny. Not happening. Never happened. Will never happen. I want to give a shout out and a thank you to my YouTube members here on this platform. However, before I do that, I want to get you guys to start dropping your questions. This is my Get a Grip on Your Love Life and Relationships show. For $5, you get the short answer. For $10, you get the longer answer. If it is very private, don't start messaging me and the producer saying, can you do it privately? No, you can go onto the website if you want it private. This is a public show. So if you want to go onto my website, ivyriverapsychicmedium.com, you can either submit it as an email question if it's just one question about one relationship, or you can book a love and relationship reading and we can exclusively focus on what's happening in your relationship dynamics at this time. But these are obviously public. Okay. So again, $5 gets you the short answer. $10 gets you the longer answer. If you can't see up on the screen for Instagram and TikTok where to submit your payment, Mary, my beautiful producer, is going to be posting that in the comment sections, and she is unable to pin it. So you're just going to have to catch it as it goes by. For everybody else, you can see this on your screen, and it is up here on YouTube. If you guys just want to switch over here, go to YouTube at Ask Ivy. You could pay, submit your question, do everything under one umbrella. So that's going to be Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. All right. Thank you to my YouTube members for your continued support. YouTube member questions. Mary, my producer, just a reminder, their questions do get moved up to the front of the line. So I want to say thank you for the support here on YouTube, allowing me to get a new computer, a new camera system, start 2 new shows recently, and a bunch of other stuff. Mary, Kat Kelly, Jordan, Lonnie Peterson, Yolanda Fisher, Audra, Erica Trotter, Angie Johnson, Robin Hartling, Chicken Mama, Tristan Marion, Edgar Velardes, Jennifer Cole, Jill Marie, Deanna Altieri, Vanessa, MeLove716, Andrea M, Jan Phillips, Heather G, Cody, the LaFaves, Mary Sykes, Stella Marie. You guys are awesome. All right, we're going to go ahead and get into it. I just want to make a couple quick announcements while we let people tune in. Again, if you're tuning in a little bit late, this is the Get a Grip on Your Love, Life, and Relationships. Any kind of question goes. Salty, sexual, inappropriate, curious. It could be any type of relationship. Also, we have relationships with all different kinds of people and creatures, and relationships with ourselves, and different circumstances in life. So any type of relationship question goes. All right, a couple things. Numerology training. So the first numerology course I have ever taught at the Ivy League Psychic Academy, I'm about to do. It's 3 weeks long, and it's going to run on Mondays from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern, May 2nd, 9th, and 16th. So we've had numerology teachers come into the academy and teach a numerology course before, and it's always been a huge hit, life-changing, absolutely. It is a lost language that we should all know. However, this is going to be a little bit of a different angle from what those previous teachers have done. And again, I am teaching this one. You're going to want to go ahead and get registered for that now. You could take it in person here at the Victorian Funeral Home, the Ivy League Psychic Academy. You could also join us online. So wherever you are in the world, jump in. And if you're not free during that time, especially if you're in the Middle East, whatever it is, you could just get the video download and you would still be with us for the class, technically. All right. So we're going to, it says up here, you guys have to email me to get on the early bird list, but you don't have to do that anymore. It's up on the website already. So just go to ivyriverapsychicmedium.com to get yourself registered for numerology class. We also have coming up spiritual. Yes. Thank you, Mary. Spiritual life coaching. Registration deadline is nearly upon us. So I am going to be cutting off registration here soon. If you want to become a life coach, spiritual life coach through Roots Revival Interfaith, I will be training you in what is I want to say a 6-week training. Maybe this is 4 weeks. You guys will have to do the math on this, but it starts March 21st and ends April 25th. This is going to be the same as numerology class, where you can join in person, online, or get the video download. And with spiritual life coaching, we just recently did a Q&A on this. So you can go back and watch my video where I talk about what the numerology course is going to entail, as well as spiritual life coach training. You do get a certification and you are up for hire through Roots Revival Interfaith, Ivy's Healing Call Center, Ivy League Psychic Fairs, things like that afterward. So check it out. And I will be at Grey Cliff for the eclipse. People are going crazy for the eclipse. I cannot tell you, this place is an Airbnb, and like every day I'm just getting bombarded. So we are right in the main, I guess, ability to see, this eclipse that's coming up on, what is it, April 8th. And I guess Pennsylvania too. But anyways, I have chosen to work an event at Grey Cliff, Frank Lloyd Wright's architectural masterpiece on the beach. And if you guys have never been, it's absolutely incredible. I know there is a waiting list of like 75 people or more at this point, and they are full to capacity at 200, but you never know who's going to drop out or what's going to change. So go ahead and get yourself on the waiting list if you want to do that. But I will be out there all day giving readings. That's in Hamburg. That's going to run 11 a.m. To 4:30 p.m. And no, for this one, I can't do pre-booking again because all of these people already, registered to be there. So, the best you could do is get yourself on the wait list for that. All right. I'm just going to say, before we go ahead and get started, if you guys need to book a party, an event, a psychic fair, because I do run Ivy League Psychic Fairs, or reading with me, you can go on to my website, again, ivyriverapsychicmedium.com, to do so. But for today, we're going to go ahead and get started. Let's get into it. Mary, who do we have first? And yes, I am aware that there's a glare on this camera. Not sure why. We're just going to act like it isn't there. Right, Jesus? There goes Jesus. All right, we have a $5 question coming in here from an Ayana. Will Jalen and I ever have a relationship again? All right. I don't feel like you're going to have a relationship with this person in the way that you're thinking of it. So if you were sort of looking to have something in the ballpark of what it was, I feel you being realistic and saying, no, no, I know that's not true. I know you can't go back. I know you can never have exactly what it was, but I don't even really feel like it's a variation of what it was. It feels as though there is a lot of hit and miss communication going on here between the two of you, and it may have left a bad taste. It may have left a bad taste in your mouth, but certainly the other person's mouth as well. I also feel that, with what is it, Jalen? It feels like this is a person who doesn't want to work at anything. This person's energy feels scattered, jumpy, a bit, by the seat of my pants, and not at all committed in the way that it would require this relationship dynamic to work. So this person isn't necessarily interested in watching this relationship like evolve. It takes a lot of work, and I don't want to sound like a negative Nelly, but often when something happens in a relationship dynamic and it kind of goes awry, it can be nearly impossible to get it onto any type of positive track beyond that. Both people would have to be fully committed to altering the way it was, to looking forward to the future, and to investing and really actively listening to the other person. Okay, in regards to how they feel, what they really want. It's a lot of work. Just even in basic friendships, it's a lot of work. So I don't think so. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to close yourself off to this person. Okay, so you'll see where it goes, but you can't be the only one working at something, that's for sure. All right, thank you for that question, Ayana. We have another one coming in here. This is $15. Thank you so much for the donation, Edgar. So this is a $10 question with a donation. What are you guys doing? You cuckoo? Cats are going crazy. Edgar says, can I please have a love prediction for the next 2 months, March and April? Okay, March and April for Edgar. There does seem to be somebody there, and I want to say between the second and the third week of March, and then it really comes up again in the middle bit of April. And so between the second and the third week, and there seems to be some actual dialogue happening here. So there's not just like conversation or in our heads or telepathy or some energy exchange and some clairsentience, going on here, feeling each other like physically, and clear empathy, which is feeling each other sort of emotionally, kind of feeling out the waters from a distance. There's actually real time exchange going on. Okay. During those times, you could count on the second one more. Okay. So, everybody is free will. I can't give a 100% guarantee that it's going to play out exactly the way I'm saying. I'm saying the highest likelihood, like 80, 85, 90% likelihood that it will. But sometimes people get spooked. They could switch it up. So keep that in consideration. However, I think there will be discussion of this at the time frame I mentioned in March. And then April, that feels like a bigger guarantee because of the way March plays out. And so there is this interesting dynamic between the two of you where it's like both people are putting their toes in the water to see if this is a good fit, to see if it's intriguing enough, to see if there's enough of a connection. And we're both coming out of these meditations, let's say, okay, these dream states, this sort of spell. And we're saying, yeah, I'm going to approach this person. It's one of those weird situations where like the other person already knows you're going to approach them. And they're prepared for it. It's like, you ever watch one of those movies? Very dramatic, right? Somebody shows up and, the other person's like, I was waiting for you, like I knew you were on your way. I knew you were coming. And so there's this sense of already knowing how all of this is going to play out. We still want to try to act as normal as possible and allow it to play out like we're, I don't know, surprised, I guess. And, I think what this really does, and I would highly recommend everybody actually does this in all their relationships. But I think what it does is it prepares the conversations to go a little more smoothly and for everyone to be a little bit more centered, rooted, grounded, instead of like anxious, and their nervous systems all going haywire and Your palms are sweating and, you know, it's not enjoyable. We want to really be in the moment. That's how I feel about this relationship dynamic between you and this other person. Like, you both really want to like be in the moment and really enjoy things. You know, a good example is like even setting up with the chaos of my filming today and all the nonsense and drama that I knew was going to happen. It always happens. I said to myself, no, damn it, I'm not going to lose my peace because I want to enjoy the time I'm going to spend with my viewers and my clients. I want to enjoy the time I'm spending with myself and the cats and spirit. I'm not going to get upset. I'm going to enjoy it regardless of whether or not it's stressing me out. I think this is an attitude that you and this other person have about life in general. I'm going to show up and I'm going to be present and I'm not going to let anything steal my, unless of course the cat knocks over all the cameras. Get over here. Come here. You know, anyways, making a mockery of me. You know, you need to understand what aspects of this relationship should be celebrated and really feed that. And anything else that seems to not work, I would just ignore it. I would just start sweeping under the carpet for a little while. Okay. I like this a lot. All right. Thank you, Edgar. We're going to move on to another question. Jesus, come on over here. We have, is this another one? Oh, okay. Another one from Edgar, $10 question. Okay. When do you see me becoming a father? A little sooner than you like if you're not careful. 2 years, maybe shorter than that. We could be looking at this happening. I want to say there's talk of it at the 3-month mark out from now, the 9th month mark out from now. And then there's a gap in time there. So I don't know, maybe you're just being more careful or something, but then there's the 2-year mark out from now. So I guess I would say as soon as you feel that you're ready to do that, you know, this is going to come out wrong, I'm sure, but whatever. Listen, you don't really have a lot of say in that. And so, you know, as a guy, you really can only protect yourself from your own end the best that you can. And to be careful, you know, vet who you're choosing. And I think that what may be going on here is that you have a small boy who would have already wanted to come through with you in the last 5 years. So he's waiting first in line, a little bit pushy about getting it done. He's a lot of Virgo in his chart. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to be a sun sign Virgo. I'm just saying he has some heavy Virgo influence in his chart when he comes through. So he wants to be very capable in business. You know, he wants to be in charge of everything. He's very meticulous and particular about how he does things, including his life contract, including his parental contract. I call it the kid contract. He's chosen you, but it has to really be his way or the highway. And that's how all kid contracts really are. So we think we have more of a say in it than what we do. I think that he may be the first in line to come through, highest likelihood. There's also a potential set of twins, and it feels like girls who may choose to come in right after him. Now, they could make a liar out of me and they could switch up birth order, or they could choose also as twins to switch out and come through as individuals. But I think it would be 2 females regardless. And that would happen within 3 years of the first one, if not sooner than that. Yeah, I would say within 3 years of the first one. Okay, so it's possible the second female may choose to come through as a male who's very well balanced. So very much more leaning into his feminine energy than anything. But that's a lot of kids in a very short period of time. And I just am giving you a little bit of an additional warning on being careful. Lock that thing up. Okay. Wrap it up. Do what you got to do. Be careful. If you're not ready for something like this now, or again, like I said, like 2 years out from now, because their timing on when they come through is established in large by the other kids, meaning their life contract, their parent contract with you is based on the siblings. So that makes it so that, you know, you can have them coming in real close together, almost feeling back to back. And granted, while you have some choice and free will in this, okay, mom would have more, you know, it tends to be that once you bring through one, you're going to bring through all, you know, so be ready. Yeah, looks like a handful. And that's just the first couple sets. Okay. You have a few more after that. I would say you have 5 to 6 total. So we'll see how this goes. Eef. Edgar, take a nap while you can. All right. So let's move into, we have a $10 from Rachel. My ears are ringing like crazy, Rachel. All right, what the heck is going on here? Okay, so Rachel wants to know, what can you tell me about myself and Paul? Thank you. Well, my ears are ringing. You've been receiving a lot of, whether it's ear ringing, the tinnitus, the pressure in the ears, the feeling like a seashell is up to your ear. You could be receiving this on the left side, which tends to be more mediumistic, meaning spirit coming through and putting thoughts in your head. Clairaudience. It could also be coming through on the right side for you, which is, the grandmothers used to say left for love, right for spite. That's fairly accurate. It's not spite, but it's kind of like a warning, a heads up, an opportunity for you to examine what's going on around you, things that you can see, things that you can't see, things that you are hearing, things you're not hearing, what's being omitted, what's blatantly obvious. You have to do an analysis and take responsibility for the fact that that is your job. And then the universe will work with you from there. But the ear ringing is a big indicator that there is a lot of activity. What I feel in the relationship is that sometimes it's working really well and it seems almost ideal. And other times there's a lot being hidden. This is coming more from him. This is coming from his desire to either do the bare minimum or not have to engage very much at all with certain aspects of the relationship. Those would be aspects that require a lot out of him, like self-development, self-care, therapy, having expectations on him. Is he going to deliver A, B, and C? You have to treat any relationship like it's a business contract, okay? So it's like, here's what I am bringing to the table. Here's what I need you to bring to the table. Here's it. You could sign or not sign. And, here's the deadline, by which I need to do an evaluation. We need to come together and have kind of a meeting and see whether or not these things are actually happening. Am I satisfied? Are you satisfied? Is it actually working? And if we fall behind on that contract, no, it's not, let's go back and renegotiate, or I'm going to hold space, or I'm going to extend this contract out 3 to 6 months, or I see that you're kind of working on this and I'm going to, no, either someone is ready or someone is not ready. And I think that with Paul, what you really need to be looking at is whether or not he has areas that are touchy. Okay. Men tend to be very, very emotional. And the way they deal with their emotions for the most part is to get angry, to throw temper tantrums, to have a piss fit, about it. And the minute you start to see that, red flag goes way up and you got to dig deeper. What's here? Now I feel you may experience it almost like you're on the beach and you're digging in the sand and you're like, when the hell does the sand end? But do you ever really dig and get to the middle of the earth or whatever? It's like, the answer is no. You could be digging forever. It's not your job to pick up the shovel. You're supposed to be off making sandcastles. If he didn't do his own digging and his own work, the waves are going to come and wash the whole thing away anyways. Okay. So there's nothing you could do about it. You cannot control, the ocean, so to speak, in this little scenario. I think that you need to make sure on your end, let's focus on you for a minute. Okay. You need to not overreach. And your big karmic lesson in this relationship and some past relationships, and hopefully not in some future relationships, is to know how to stand your ground, to center yourself, and to stay in your lane. Now, if you don't do that, there will be negative karmic kickback, as there has always been in any relationship where you overreached. You saw a red flag as a pink flag. You decided you were going to, overlook things and hope for the best. You have desires in your life, and you don't want to take those desires to have certain things in your life, which are lovely desires, but you don't want to put it on a relationship and say, this person has to deliver this, because when they don't, or when they say they will, but they're playing you, you know what I mean? Then you're trying to coerce the situation. You're trying to, make it look like it's something more than what it is so that you can have those things. So figure out what exactly it is that you want in life, why it is that you would have a pattern of overreaching, and come up with a game plan as to how in this relationship you are going to stay in your lane and you are not going to back down from that no matter what. Okay. So boundary setting, make them, keep them set. And I think we'll have a better experience with this. If we don't do that, it could implode just based on that alone. Okay. But there's a lot there. There are a lot of other positive things I could talk about. We don't have time for that today, but Let's move on to another one. Thank you for your question. Lucy Marsh asks a $5 question. Lucy wants to know, wondering if my grandma Corrine has any advice for my relationships tonight. Okay, thank you. Great question. Corrine, do you have any advice for Lucy's relationships? You know, I feel like your relationships are nicer than what they've been. I don't know if you've had some on and off years where you were dealing with some maybe oddballs, oddballs in love for sure. But there's also this sense of like maybe friendships not being very fulfilling in the way that they were needy or siphoning your energy or not really giving back to you in a way that you wanted. I also feel like part of this is you being more honest. So part of it is you coming and saying to the people in your life, this is who I am. This is what I want. This is when I'll show up. Don't bother inviting me to this thing. I love you, but no, yes, I will do this. Like also learning how to say no to people. You can love someone to death. You have to love them by loving yourself. It's all we can do sometimes. And that means like saying no, I can't listen to this or I can't, get myself involved in this or I don't want to, whatever it is. There's this sense of you being more real about who you are. And because you're doing that, and I think a lot of people never reach this point in life and they wonder why their relationships suffer. That's really all you have to do sometimes is to be you, authentically you, and the right people will show up. And so I feel that happening across the board for you. And so she's celebrating this with you. As far as love goes, I think you could still be attracting some oddballs, meaning that I don't want to say this. Okay, you tend to not notice that you are a princess getting ready to become a queen. This queendom may happen more in your 30s, okay? Like early to mid 30s, which is fine. That has to do with your life contract. That's another story for another day. What happens though is you're like working your way up to that is that you become a bigger power player in the universe as a whole. And because you're doing the work on yourself, the growth, learning the lessons, that's what's happening rather quickly, which means you attract low-level people who want to ride your coattails, mooch off of you. They're very needy. You attract a lot of guys who are very they're covering it up like they're power players. And they're actually desperate, like just needy to have someone like you on their arm, right? And so it's an ick factor for sure. Find out early if that's what's going on and say, no, thank you. Okay. But soon that will be changing if you keep doing this. So for a little while, expect more of that. She loves you very much. Thank you for your question. We have another one coming in from Nicole. Okay. I do want to, I forgot to say earlier, if everyone could please give this video a thumbs up, whichever platform you're on. If you are on one of the other platforms, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, if you could switch over to YouTube at Ask Ivy, that would be great. I'm always trying to move everybody over here. Please drop a comment of any kind. It helps me out in the algorithm, and do subscribe. If you are on YouTube at Ask Ivy and you want to become a member, you can hit the join button to see the 3 different tiers of membership. And if you guys want to book a reading with me, including a love and relationship read, go to ivyrivera.psychicmedium.com. That also goes for parties and psychic fairs. All right. Let's get on to another one here. We have from a Nicole B. This is a $15 question. Thank you for the donation, Nicole. Let's see. Nicole wants to know, hi, Ivy. I am curious what you see with my love life. Do you see me with someone soon who I can build a life with and have children with? Okay, so Nicole, is anyone coming in? Will there be children? There could be children 2 different ways. You could have a child. Like even within the next year, you may meet up with someone who this child would be interested in coming through with both of you. Okay. That does not necessarily equate to marriage, cohabitation, a long-term commitment. It would definitely equate to co-parenting, afterward. But there may not be a whole heck of a lot there. Now, sometimes we come together with people just because we're supposed to, create. That's fine, but our society and religious stigmas and patriarchy and capitalism, government tax credits, I mean, all of this, it doesn't really feed that concept, but that is the universal idea behind contracts. And so if you have a child who's wanting to come through with you and somebody else you kind of meet up with in the upcoming year, you may want to consider doing that. I feel you're more than capable of handling it. And again, while I don't see it really working out as a romantic partnership, that's not necessarily what it's about. Just because it started as romance doesn't mean it has to stay as romance. So if you could co-parent with this person, I don't feel like he's amazing at it, but he's fine. He'll do all right. You could do that. Now, if you want to wait and you want to have the whole kit and caboodle here, okay, which I don't really recommend anyone ever does, because you're putting too much pressure on one type of relationship. A romantic partnership. Romantic partnerships typically have 1, 3, 7, or 14-year contracts, and they're over. Okay, so that's universal standards. So do you really want to put this much pressure on meeting someone and having the whole family dynamic and all of this? I think that if you want that, you're going to be waiting a little while, at least 3 years. And that would be with someone where if you don't bring through this original child that I saw, this child could be coming through with a set of 3 with this person. So we would have another one very close behind that one, and then a third child with a little bit of a space between the second and the third. I don't think it goes quite 5 years. I think it goes more 3 years. But what we're talking about with this person is a very slow mover. Just even the way they're kind of entering into your life and being like, we could not, this is an individual who's okay on their own, which is great. That's what we want. We want someone who's independent enough to be like, I don't need a relationship. I want a relationship. I'm open to a relationship, but I don't have to have it. That way, this person isn't treating you like any old peg that fits in the hole. They want you, not anybody, to come, rescue them. So I like the way it starts. It's slow. It's conservative. I think that you may not even notice it at first. This is a larger individual, like taller and wider. This is someone who's very good with finances, possibly some Capricorn in the chart somewhere where they're very much like, this is how it gets done, very stable in work and career. But also some Sagittarius in the chart somewhere, which makes them a little more fiery, kind of hilarious. You get a couple drinks in this person and they're like the life of the party. You just wouldn't expect it. You don't see this one coming. Okay. So I like it a lot. I think there's a lot to be said for this. But it could be a minute. Okay. Thank you for your question. Thank you for the hearts on TikTok. If you guys could keep tapping that screen, share this video. And for Instagram and TikTok, if you're having trouble figuring out where you're supposed to submit your payment because we're not able to pin it in the comments or put it in the description, you can watch in the comment section. My producer, Mary, is posting it in the comment section over and over again for you guys, okay? Or you can switch to YouTube at Ask Ivy. It's right up here at the top of the screen. All right, we have another one coming in from Linda Melendez, and this is a $10. And Linda wants to know, what do you see with Zach Nixon and I? Are we a good match? I think this could be pretty fiery. I think it's like hot in the sack for a little while, at least. I think that you could, definitely, I'm hearing like get on with this person or get on with this person, whatever. I guess same thing. But I was going to say more like go out and have a good time. Okay. Spirit's getting dirty, but it's kind of like we're having a good time whether we're out, we're having a good time whether we're in, we're having a good time. And I feel like it's really important to understand the value in relationships like this, because when you find someone that you can have as an actual friend with benefits and is actually a good time, you actually would spend time together even without the sex, just because the conversation is good, the intellectual stimulation is good, you're there and supportive for each other on an emotional level. So there is significant intimacy there. And I think all of that is here, but there's also instability. So if you're looking to take this and create something long-term, I wouldn't try to take that route if I were you. I would appreciate it for what it is. He's a little bit like, a butterfly that comes in and flutters on by and like stays at a flower to enjoy himself for an hour and then like is off again. And you're kind of like a hummingbird, like you're all over the place anyways. Okay. So if we're honest, it really doesn't matter to you all that much. Okay. And I don't know if it's because it doesn't matter to you at all or it just doesn't matter with him, but you don't have to have every like category checked and have all that in order. It doesn't matter. Just have a good time. Just enjoy him, you know. He's certainly going to enjoy you. And I think that when you can build friendships like this, you know, it lasts a lot longer because, again, I know I'm repeating myself, but like I just said to the other person a minute ago, typical relationship contracts, if they're karmic, they're only going to go a year. If they're a little bit bigger than that, 3, maybe 7 or 14 years, there is no till death do us part. So we don't even need to be looking at that. We just need to look at, you know, what the contract looks like between the two of you. And there is one here, which is a lovely thing. And so there's some past life connection. There's some chords, there's some dynamic energy. And I think it'll last a lot longer if you know, have fun with it for what it's meant to be. I also feel like one of the things that may happen with Zach is that there could be a certain level of immaturity. And so he may get on your nerves and you may be like, I don't want to like hear it. I don't want to deal with it. I'm not responding to this text. If he starts playing games, you have to really put him in his place and let him know, I'm not doing that. Okay. Like I'm not expecting anything out of you. I don't want anything out of you. Don't play with me. Don't, it's kind of like, don't piss me off. Okay. Or we can have nothing. We could do that too. So as long as he stays honest about who he is and where he is and doesn't start trying to manipulate you into giving something more than what you know what I mean? That's could be a problem. He could also have a little bit of like neediness or like wanting you to, I don't know if it's like parent over him. And it's like, no. We're not like that. Okay. I'm not wifey. We're not doing any of that. I don't owe you anything. You know, if it's reciprocated, it's not a problem. If it isn't, don't bother me with that nonsense. And I think as long as you have your boundaries set from early on, there's some talk like the 3rd month, some of this may come up. I think everything's, you know, going to go well. I do think there is a lot of benefit on the flip side of those potential problems. There's a lot of benefit here in regards to you guys building. So say you talk about business, say you talk about problem solving, say, again, because I see active listening with both of you, you're able to sort of use him as a soundboard or emotionally release. Building in life does not have to just be about like money or work or career or resources. You know, it could be about growth and lessons in a lot of ways. And I like the building potential here. And again, we want to stretch that out and make it last as long as it can in life by honoring it for what it is. All right. Thank you so much for that question. Definitely an interesting relationship dynamic. I like it a lot. I tend to think of people like that as being a little bit more of like our soul tribe members. Susanna Cruz asks a $10 question. And this is, hi, Ivy. I was wondering, what do you see for me with my love life? If my grandmother Bonnie from the other side has any messages for me. Okay. So what does Bonnie have to say about Susanna's love life? You know, she comes in here with a red rose, which is a birthday or anniversary right around this time. It can also be a passing anniversary, and it's a deep love. I think that her passing this to you is also symbolic of what I say about people when they're like married or, you know, they've been in like a long-term relationship or one person passes away. And the love of the relationship continues, like deep soulmate connection will continue even when one partner is on the other side. And they often come through giving a red rose. So what does this mean? She's talking about you attracting this into your life. And it's not so much like manifestation or law of attraction. It's not like you're trying to attract it. It's more like you're ready and you're open and you're deserving. I'm not saying that everyone isn't deserving of love, but I'm saying a lot of people aren't. Okay. They just aren't. They're like, why don't I have any friends? Because you're not a good friend. Why don't I have this? Because you didn't earn it. Why isn't this working out for me? Because you've made terrible decisions and you plan to make them again. You know, a lot of people just don't deserve what you have coming in, but you do. And this suggests that, and what she's proud of you for, is that you've done a lot of work on yourself, whether this is shadow work, this is detoxing, this is therapy, this is releasing. You've unburdened your heart, okay? It feels like it had like a 50-pound weight, you know, on it a couple years ago, and now it's like light as a feather. And that means you're open. You're not open to receiving any old thing that comes in, you know, but you are open to receiving the high vibrational people that you deserve. And it's really that hard work that pays off karmically for you in this relationship that I see coming in, where this person is this is a mover and a shaker. This person is fast. This person is strong in business and finances. This individual is very interested. It reminds me of the kind of person who approaches, you know, if you've ever been on a dating app, and I'm sorry if you have, but if you've ever been on a dating app, right, you get your people who are like automatically, as soon as you start talking, they're spitting out, you know, maybe 2 questions at you instead of 1 every 15 minutes or none. You know, they're quick about, they want to know. And then they're saying like, can we lock a date down, or can we at least move off of this platform and start talking somewhere else? And then immediately it's like, I will come to you. Where am I taking you? You tell me, da 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 da. Right? Those are the ones that make you think, yeah, there could be something here, because already the effort, the drive, the obvious attraction, and the willingness to share that level of attraction instead of being stingy with it, right, is out there. And so it starts that way. And I think that you know, you may find with this person that even though it's moving quickly, that's the natural pace of it. I see brown eyes. I see, brown hair, lighter eyes. So it could be talking like hazel, maybe light brown, but they look more like green almost. You know, this is someone who I'm seeing like large hands, kind of manicured, really, like very pretty. This person wants to make sure that you don't sort of get away. And this isn't manipulative. This is like, I want to lock it down. You know, there's something significant here. And you're really just kind of like, I'm not even trying. And this is me, and I'm not even trying. Okay. So I kind of love it. She loves it even more, and she'll be dictating this. So keep your eyes and ears open. I would say that within the upcoming 2 years, you can, if you want, see yourself settled in this situation. All right, we are going to move on to another question here from Jackie B, and this is a $10 question. Could you guys get away from the cameras? I swear they do this just to stress me out. I hear you. I do hear you. I love you. All right. Jackie B, $10. Who keeps trying to get my son's attention from the other side? Is what he is feeling real or imaginary? I feel like it's happening more at night, which is not uncommon by any means, but he may want to start paying attention to what's going on between 3 and 5:30 in the morning, the haunting hour, and also at like 1:30 in the morning. That's oddly specific. It seems like it's foot traffic through the house, which could mean that you have a land issue. You could book a paranormal consultation with me at any time and we can get to the bottom of it. But this is a spirit that is coming through, passing through the land, the house, has taken up interest with him. I also feel like he's feeding it quite a bit. So if, you know, he's the kind of person who engages with spirit, or this could also be coming through his mediumistic abilities, meaning he's a medium. And he's not trying deliberately to engage, but you just do. It's the equivalent of an empath who attracts everybody, and it may be the opposite of what you want, you know, but your healing energy is radiating, so everyone comes toward you. He can't help it. I also think that the fear may be feeding it. And I'm not saying it's a negative spirit per se, but this does not seem to be a spirit who respects boundaries. So we could be talking about earthbound. That's a very different story than spirits who've crossed over into the light, who have to respect your boundaries. And I think that he needs some skills, okay, in how to block. You can go to my website and see the list of classes. There are all kinds of classes on how to deal with these types of things. But you need to understand that you can't do anything about it. It's not for you. Okay. It doesn't have any interest in you also. So this is not a family member. This is, you know, someone who would like to get him to pay more attention to it, to engage with it. This can also become a bit of an issue if he's becoming, again, fearful and anxiety induced, like energy that gets sort of, you know, radiating off of him is, again, a food source for earthbounds. Because I think of Monsters Inc. If you've ever seen Monsters Inc., it's a Disney Pixar old movie. The entire city is fueled by energy from children who were fearful, and it gets bottled and it gets taken back to the city. It supplies them with everything. Okay. Electricity, gas. I mean, you name it. It supplies the whole city. Well, that's how it is for earthbound spirits. That's how it is for negative and lower energies in the universe. So if he is becoming fearful about it, it's going to become a bigger problem. All right. So we want to nip it in the bud. There is no message there. Back to your original question, what's the message? There is no message. And that's how you know it's a problem. In my book, it's a problem. It's not a horrible problem. I've seen much, much worse. It's not a huge deal. But I think that when spirit comes to communicate, they should communicate clearly. They should move on after that. You know what I'm saying? Just like people should. I don't know you. I don't owe you. You don't need to be here. And if you can't be upfront with me about why you're here, what you want from me, you need to get out. So boundaries need to be set. It's no different with spirit. All right, let's go ahead and move on to another one. This is a $10 from Christina H. Christina wants to know, I just met a man named David. We clicked automatically and it feels like we've known each other for longer. Is there anything you see between us? It feels like this was like set up. So I don't know if you met on a dating app and then like met up. It feels set up in some way. Okay, so does it feel okay? Is there anything you see? What do I see? David. There's this feeling here of like it could go rather quickly, sort of unrolling, almost like rolling off the tongue, like conversation and an ability to like plan the next date. Where do we want to go? What's the next adventure? What are you into? Have you seen this? I've been waiting to see that. Let's go watch this. Like it's just like go, 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 go. It is very, very easy. I think that you could also see with this person some level of ghosting. And so be mindful that we don't get overly invested in anyone until they've earned it. So it's like, I don't think about you. You don't take up space in my brain. I don't emotionally give you anything literally until you've earned it. And the way they earn that is by showing stability over a set period of time. So we're not there yet. So he hasn't earned anything. He hasn't earned anything yet. Okay. And so if he were to be ghosty, bye. Was fun while it lasted. Okay. Now, if he is able to get past that habit of his, then I think we could work with this for a while. I think we would be at about 6 months in before we have our first pivotal point, or you could say that is the first pivotal point. Does he ghost? Does he not? But I would have a no tolerance. Otherwise, it would be the 6th month in, and that would be the first pivotal point. Pivotal point is an opportunity for two people to either come closer together or to go further apart. And during that time, what we would be seeing is something similar to the ghosting experience, where it's like, is he a person of his word? Is he omitting things? Is he being deliberately open and communicative, displaying stability? And it's not just stability between like the two of you, it's also stability in his own life. So you may be examining his lifestyle at that point. You may be like, okay, is his work really going well? Are other people outside of me, forget me, but what do his other relationship dynamics look like? Can they count on him? Are these healthy relationships? And I think that's a great place to be when you're really asking kind of harder questions about someone. It's beyond, do I just like this person? Do I feel a connection with this person? But it's, could I build with this person? Do I want this person in my house, so to speak, meaning your life? Would I want them in here, or will they just like throw dishes on the floor and like make a mess and shit in my yard? You know what I mean? Like, you're looking, and it's an opportunity for him to be open about all of that. Or you may feel like you're having to dig to get this information. And so we'll see what you do at that point. If you have to dig, I don't think you're going to like what you find necessarily. Okay. Probably because you had to dig. Had it just been more open, it wouldn't have been a big deal. I know this is a little like, I'm all over the place with that, but I hope that makes some sense. It will when it happens. If it happens, let's see what he does with the next, like 3 weeks. All right, let's move on to another one. This is from an Ashley. This is a $10 question. Ashley says, what do you see for my love life this year? Ashley's love life in 2024. You could have a rush of people. There's something going on with your astrology, and I would have a look. You go to Ivy's Healing Call Center, and you can always book like a love reading, a reading on yourself, with Christina Del Rey, our astrologer. And Ivy's Healing Call Center is 7 days a week. Okay, so check it out. But that's up on my website. But you may want to look at your astrology for the year and even like halfway to 3/4 into 2025. Because what's happening with your planets is that it'll come together, like a bunch of them will come together. And then there's something about 5 transits. I'm no astrologer. I just hear from the planets and it's accurate. But like they'll come together and then they'll go apart and it'll be kind of quiet, or you're letting those relationships play out to see what they're all about. And then it happens again. And then it happens again. So if this keeps happening, what it's going to look like for you is like a flood of people. If you are all of a sudden front and center, okay, it's like you're giving off pheromones or something. You can't figure out where all these people coming from. Like everybody, wants to get to know you. It's going to bring with it high vibration and low vibration. So when something like that happens, yes, it's happening because it's destined to happen. It's in your stars, it's in your planets, and you set up your life contract. So you chose for it to happen at that time. But the question becomes why? And usually in a situation like this, it's not just about like who's coming. It's about what am I supposed to be learning? How can I grow? How am I supposed to use these relationships? Because romantic relationships, really at any level, okay, and whether they're past life, their soulmate, their soul tribe, their karmic, really at any level, they are going to be the biggest opportunities you have in life to grow, to develop. That's their purpose. Okay, they trigger all of that in you, whether they're good love partners or not. And so I think you want to be asking yourself these questions, not just for 2024, but even, like I said, halfway, maybe even 3/4 into 2025. You've got something going on with these coming together of the planets and activity skyrocketing. Okay, like there won't be a night or a weekend where you don't have dates if you don't want them. What I would do if I were you is play the field. What I would do is, be willing to get away from your type, and like you could play around with that, but also just be open to other odd types that you don't normally explore and allow those conversations, those dates, those connections to prove to you that you definitely don't know 100% just yet what you want. Okay. You may have some encounters here where you're like, I didn't even know I want that. I didn't even know I wanted that. And now I cannot ever have anything but that, or I at least need some of that. Like, it's going to change your perspective. So 2024 is about you evolving in understanding more of yourself and what you want in love partnerships. Based on some of these new relationship dynamics. It's also about realizing out with the old, okay? Because you may be feeling, oh, wow, that was really my type. And now you're like, meh, I'm nothing. You're clearly done with it. And some people may have left a bad taste in your mouth. That may be part of it, but whatever. When you're done, you're done, And there's this ability for you to have more fun with all of it than what you have, because you don't seem to have an agenda, or at least that's what I'm suggesting you. If I were you, I would not have an agenda. I would go through the entire year being like, play in the field, which means I'm not looking for a relationship. You don't have to say that. Okay. That can cause a lot of problems. But you could also just, I guess, be raw and honest about that. I would just, it's whatever you choose to do, play the field. Okay. It's going to be very, very interesting. All right. So a lot happening there. It's funny how sometimes we have dry spells where it's like a year and nothing goes on. And then other times we have, what she's going to have. And it's like, this is bananas. Where is this coming from? It's coming from the planets. It's coming from your life contract. You signed up for this. You chose this. And why would you choose something like that? For growth. Okay. Let's move on to Vanessa. This is a $10 question. And she wants to know, what do you see with Isaiah and I? Will he want to get back together and or talk about getting back together? Isaiah seems to be kind of angry. He seems to be, I'm hearing petty. You have a grandfather coming through here who doesn't really care for him. I think that, sometimes there's an immaturity level that makes it really hard to deal with someone in a way that you feel like they don't have blocks and walls and they're not kind of, you know, turning you out. Like they don't want to, it's almost like being emotionally unavailable. And it reminds me of, and I am one, so I get it. I'm a Cancer sun, but it reminds me of Cancers. Okay. So he may have Cancer somewhere in his chart where it's like, why is this wall up so high? Or like Scorpios were like suspicious. And it's like, calm down. All right. I think that that could be off-putting, maybe not in the beginning, and maybe not if you want to be together. So we tend to be very susceptible to overlooking things like that, and being like, that's okay, I'll forgive you anything, and then once we're together, it's like you could hate him for that. It could be really off-putting and annoying, because nothing should be that much work. Why is it that much work? Do you not want to be here? There's the door. Okay, so it could play out like that. There is this sense of him doing it from a place of manipulation, which I like even less, because Cancers can have a bit of a stick up their rear end. Okay, so can Scorpios, like a chip on the shoulder type of thing. But it's not necessarily deliberate. It's more like our nature. And we may, if you're a high viber, you're going to try to overcome that nature. And if you love someone else, you're going to really try to work through that. And if you can't, you go to therapy or whatever, But what you may see is that this is being used against you. This is being used deliberately in a breadcrumbing, fishing, manipulative, stonewalling type of a way. And I think that if you've had any sense of that happening in the past, and you've decided that maybe it's not that big of a deal, or it's not a significant problem, or you really haven't known what to make of it, so you've just sort of swept that under the carpet. That's just a little bit of a skeleton that's growing in size, skeleton in the closet. I think that it's gonna, come back with a vengeance. And I think that you can't also overlook things that weren't working. So you have a tendency in this to be like, well, maybe it was me, or I could have done this better. One has nothing to do with the other. I don't care that was you. I don't care that we're going to place blame on you. You're right. Okay, that thing was your fault. Fine. Okay, fine. That has nothing to do with this other thing. Why are you giving him free passes? Why are you giving free passes when they have not been, earned? You're trying to entangle ideas and say almost like, I'll give you a free pass on this thing that was hurtful or wrong or deteriorated our relationship, or is like not something you're willing to grow and work through, so it's keeping us apart. I'll give you a pass on that because I once did this thing, or I could have done this thing better. That has nothing to do with the other thing. Okay, so allow yourself to forgive yourself and move on. And it's almost like being objective about what's really happened here in the past and what it is that you really want. You could be a little hung up on this. I would also suggest that if, no, that's how I'm feeling. So if you were to get back together, and there's talk of 3, so you could be hearing from this person. Could it be 3 days, 3 weeks? It could. I was also feeling like 3 months. But it doesn't feel legitimate in the way that wall would be up, So it's up to you what you do with it. It's a possibility. All right. Thank you for your question. We're going to move on to another one here from Lauren. This is a $20 question. Okay. So thank you so much for the donation, Lauren. Okay. Thank you, everybody, too. If I didn't say thank you for the donations, and the comments and the likes and the shares, especially on TikTok, they're sharing this video. I appreciate you guys very much. I'm just not really looking at the comment feed. Okay, so Lauren wants to know, where do you see my love life headed? Okay. Lauren's love life, where is it going? You have somebody coming in here who really wants to sweep you off your feet. I'm going to sweep her off her feet. I'm going to sweep her off her feet. I don't know why. I always find that funny. It can happen. you may be a little too like into the dating game to like be capable of getting swept off your feet. So hopefully he's not disappointed. You know what I mean? But you're just a real realist. It's like, yeah, all right, that's sweet. But like, is this person productive? Is this person capable of being open and honest? Does this person know themselves? Do they have anything to offer in like intellect or emotional intelligence or intuitive intelligence? You're playing a way higher game than that. You're not getting swept away easily, okay? If it ever happens at all. And so I think your attitude here is it's humble, but it's very realistic. And I think that's a perfect place for you to be. And I would hold steady to that, for the next 5 years, meaning that yes, you are this way. And yes, you're becoming more aware that you are this way, but really kind of work a little bit more presenting that. Okay. Sometimes we just don't think much about our presentation, and you don't have to present it by saying it or have a little speech that you pull out or have it written across your forehead per se when people meet you, or put it in your bio necessarily, but kind of little bit, maybe a lot bit, as the years go by in upcoming years, because what's happening here is you are attracting higher than what you ever have, because you are stating to the universe what it is that you are claiming and will accept. And so the universe is taking you seriously instead of putting out kind of a muddled order to the universe. There's kind of like, I don't know, and then the universe gives you nothing, or they give you this hodgepodge of random stuff that you can't use. So I think that you're being deliberate in love is key. And, that's where it's headed. That's where it's supposed to be headed based on your life contract. Okay. So what are we doing? We are trying to also ensure that the next person coming in here that is of real value to you, meaning you guys have a life contract, meaning that they're part of your life contract, you have a soulmate contract. What that can mean is that you're really ready for that to happen, and the other person also needs to be ready. And we're not going to get tied up in the excitement. We're not going to get tied up in the energy exchange. We're not going to get tied up in the cords, that are keeping us together, because cords are a real thing and you can get very entangled and never be able to get back out. So you have to be calm, cool, and collected about it. But yeah, I do feel that within the next, I would say year to about maybe a year and 4 months, you do have someone significant coming in here who is able to sort of, how do I want to say this? It's almost like playing a game of tennis. Now, I always use this analogy of like, and I know I have to wrap this up. I always use this analogy of like playing a ping pong game. That's how love is supposed to be. You hit it over, they hit it back. You hit it over, they hit it back. Okay. And I think that it's like a larger scale of that. So there's a lot of benefit going on here for both of you, and it's really equal. You may also be looking for the same things, whether it's like family planning, travel, all of that. So be open. The other one coming in, the one coming in a little sooner, is kind of like, I'm a sweeper off her feet. I think you may have a bunch of those first. Okay, so you can entertain it. It's fun. It's lovely. Thank you. I appreciate that. Whatever. All right. Have a good time. Something happened on TikTok. I don't know why. Let me see if I can like get up and let me see if I can get up and replay it. Okay. It's saying that the live is ended. I see that, Mary, and I don't know why, because it wasn't actually scheduled, so it didn't have a time limit or anything. Not that I think that's a real thing. So everybody just bear with me. I'm going to go check on this and see if I can run it again. I said everyone should switch over to YouTube. Yeah, we see it's done. Let's try again. Go to live. If they'll let me. All right, well, we're back. So hopefully anyone on TikTok who is like waiting on their answer has transferred over here to YouTube. Otherwise, it's running again. So we'll see how well this goes. Mary, let's go ahead and continue. Who else do we have? All right, so we have one from an Ayana. This is a $10 question. And she wants to know, will Jalen be open to having a conversation with me again? Doesn't feel very open to me. I mean, I don't know that I need 4 minutes on this, define open. Will it happen? It's possible it will happen. Is that open? I would not say so. I would not carry on a conversation like this. I would not be resisted in this way. I would be like, look, if I have something to say, I'll drop you a text. If you got, if you're blocked or something like that, that says it all. This is about respecting boundaries. This is about knowing when to let go. This is about understanding when someone is done. And this is about knowing how to cut your losses. This is about taking responsibility, holding yourself accountable, and knowing how to stop overreaching. Because the real core issue here is trying to control. It's coming from a place of ego, fear, manipulation, and control. It's trying to coerce. It's trying to create something more out of something that is either not there or is not supposed to be there or is not supposed to be there right now. You have to take your hands off of it and you have to allow the universe to do what the universe wants to do. If I were you in this situation, I would let this person come to you, when they're ready. And I think that if there's something you really need to say, I mean, I've written letters to people, I've dropped apology texts, I've had to reach out and say, like, look, I need to clear the air, get this off my chest or whatever. It's human, it's adult, it's the right thing to do. But I don't demand a reaction out of them. I simply put it out because I really actually did it for me. You understand what I'm saying? If there's something you need to say to this person, say it. Speak your truth, clear your throat chakra. But what and how they react, what they do has nothing to do with you at all. And what you're really trying to do is relieve yourself of something. And you're trying to convince yourself that somehow this person engaging with that is what's required in order for you to be free or for you to feel good or for you to have peace. And that is not the case. This is actually not a very big relationship in the scheme of things in your life. If we were to look at your life contract and look at your relationships, you get about 5 to 6 different soulmate options. This one is not even a big deal. What does that say? Well, that's a hard pill to swallow because it says you have a lot of work to do on you. It's all about you. It's you dating you. But everyone you date is you. Your relationship with your kids is you and you. Your relationship with your parents is you and you. Your relationship with your money is you and you. Your relationship with food is you and you. And your relationship with that negative inner voice and that toxic dialogue that keeps you like a mouse on a wheel, cyclical pattern of negative thinking is you. It's all you. This is all an illusion. And so you're trying to make this out to be something more than what it is. And you're trying to get him to, engage in what it will do if and when it happens. And yes, there is a possibility that it will happen. I think it's a, fairly high possibility, maybe 35%. That's not bad. Okay. But it could be bad for you. And so you need to have a game plan. Is this like just a conversation? You're going to be like, I miss you. Or like, oh, this is a terrible idea, quite frankly. You have to be careful too when someone hasn't shown you that they really maybe love and care, have a ton of respect, or if they've shown that they have anger toward you or there's any kind of a resistance, leave it. Leave it. The world is big. It's not even about them. It only has to do with you anyways. Okay. Never chase ever. However, if you have something to say it and let it go. Okay. But be careful because this could come back to bite you. I don't know. I don't get the games here. I don't get the games. Okay. Not good. No games. No. Why? Life is short. Let's be real. Okay. There are enough problems in the world. Let's at least be real. Julie Reynolds. Julie asks a $10 question. So that's going to be okay. So Julie wants to know, hi, Ivy. Since the pandemic, I've grown apart from my 2 closest friends. Will things go back or do you see new friendships in my future? Okay. So I do not have their names or their initials, but I can sense them here through you enough that I believe I have the right ones. Because there does seem to be a third. So you've grown apart since the pandemic. Will things go back? Okay. Or in the future? What do I see? Ooh, my ear's ringing. Okay. So you may be getting a lot of psychic messages. Okay. Let's put it this way. If your higher mind has been telling you leave it, if your psychic ability, your clairvoyance has been kicking in from time to time, this could also look like right ear ringing, a burning at the back of the head, upset stomach, headaches, kind of a nervousness. Your nervous system is just knocked off kilter a little bit. When you think of these people, leave it, leave it. Anyone, I feel like I'm giving you the same similar reading to what I just gave the other girl. Anytime a relationship wants to go apart, you should let it go apart. Now, that doesn't mean we don't need to work at our relationships. You have other relationships, where maybe you have like I have a dear friend of mine, and she's an Aquarius and I've got Gemini in like 7 houses. Well, that doesn't really equate to two people who put in a lot of effort. These are two people who could be perfectly fine as lone wolves. We have to work at it. You know what I mean? But when it isn't that, it is very much a situation where people have outgrown each other. There could be a lot of changes in mentality here that you don't want to face as well. So they could think oddly about things, or maybe they perceive you as thinking oddly about things. There's a certain level of unfamiliar. When, you talk now, it's, oh my God, that scared the life out of me. I thought he had an animal. Woo, I just had a stroke. What was I saying? So, there could be this sense of getting together and like not feeling comfortable anymore. And like there's something unspoken. There's something that needs to be said, or we need to and I think that if you can't really get to the bottom of that, it could just be that, people growing apart. I also want to, so why talk about it? I mean, what a drag of a conversation, right? Nobody wants to talk about this. We weren't comfortable just admitting it's real, much less having a whole dialogue about it. Ugh. And it happens. It happens with children. It happens with spouses. It happens with our parents. It happens with our closest friends. It happens with business acquaintances that we've gotten in real, heavy with in contracts and whatnot. It happens all the time. It's natural. It's part of life. So we're supposed to grow apart from certain people and bring in new people. You can't really bring in the new until you let go of the old. So the second part of your question here is like, well, are there new people coming in? So no, I don't necessarily feel these relationships coming back unless the first thing I said where you guys need to work at it more, tends to come into play. Okay, maybe then. But it feels more future to me. And you have to sort of, I would do a ceremony if I were you. I would do a releasing ceremony. Maybe light a candle for each one of these friends, maybe go down to the water. You could write down some things that you've really appreciated about them, things you've learned, how you love them, you're sending blessings to them, burn it, tear it up, throw it off into whatever you want to do. I would do some type of a ceremony. And I would say no hard feelings. I appreciate you for what you were. This has been amazing. And I'm here. If you ever want to, come around, that's all there is. Okay. That's all there ever really is. And then yes, new relationships coming in. We have another one coming in here. Thank you for that question, Julie from a Priscilla. This is a $10 question. Okay. Is it for my best interest to go back with my ex? No, Nelson. Or continue with moving on. Move on. Again, this is not a 4-minute question, but I do appreciate your purchase. No, 100%. You have already learned these lessons. You have already wasted the time. You have already been sucked down into the depths of the pit of Nelson. Okay, which is a place no one ever wants to be. You're not the only one who doesn't. He can't find someone to be with. He can't. He will probably never find someone to be with because he is not doing the work on himself. So all he does is drain them. He expects them to overlook. So he would have to be with someone who's like very young and very dumb or something like that, who like doesn't see through it, and you see through it. You're not these things. You're not also lonely. like you may feel like you're enticed into this relationship some, but you're not like lonely or needy or desperate. It would take like someone like that to tolerate his nonsense. And I think that because your standards are higher, you're going to find very quickly that this is not working. And unless you're willing to overlook it, um, which can't last, then there's no way. This is a person who puts on a show. What do they say? I'm hearing big hat, no cattle or something like that. Like, I don't even know what that means. But anyways, maybe it's a Southern thing. Um, what I'm seeing is someone who talks out of both sides of their mouth. Okay, so this is an individual who will be like, I've done this work and I feel this way about you, and let's have this. And it's like nothing. If this were a game of poker, you were to look at his hand, it's like the lowest of the low cards. I don't have duplicate, I don't have anything I can gamble with. I don't have anything I can play with. There's no way I'm taking this. He does not have a winning hand, and it's his own fault he doesn't have a winning hand. He also wants to be taken care of. And he really does believe that if he can get back with you, that you will stay and that you will take care of him, and you will take care of him till the end of time. And this is why I'm warning you, sister. I am a little concerned that sometimes he's right. I am a little concerned that if you get sucked in, you really get sucked in. I mean, the fact that they showed a pit of Nelson, okay, with like skulls and bones and stuff in the bottom of this pit, and you would climb your way out of that. You climbed out and you're thinking of going back. Like some relationship dynamics can pull us in, not because the other person is super good at doing that, but because we have unhealed parts of ourselves that we haven't dealt with, and they are triggering those wounds. Okay, and so it's really you. It's like you and you. It's you and you. Okay, you're the pit of Nelson. You're the skulls and the crossbones. You're the don't do this to yourself. I'm just going to leave it at that. Don't do this to yourself. Okay. He doesn't deserve it. What has he done to deserve it? What has he proven that he's done to deserve it? I'm not saying he's not talking a big game. What has he proven? Okay. Make him prove it for another 2-3 years. Then maybe, if you want to consider, which I don't recommend even then, but still he won't be able to. Nope. All right, let's move on to another one from Melissa. This is a $10 question. Melissa wants to know, will we end up staying together and eventually move in together? Who? Is there another part to this question? A lot of you are dating a lot of people. You're talking to people. You got exes still in your heads and your energy. And then you want to send in a question. You don't want to put a name because you don't want to sort of out yourself, but like, it's hard for me to make sure that I'm talking about the right person because you've got too much going on. So I'll do the best I can with this, but you guys really need to include names. Will we end up staying together and eventually move in together? Yeah, I'm aware of that, but I don't. Okay. Eventually move in together. I feel like this is where there's some red flags coming up. Will you stay together? I think that there is a possibility of this relationship lasting a fairly extended period of time. However, it could be in the moving in together that problems arise. Now, these problems are going to look like a combination of things like the relationship going haywire, possibly intimacy issues, becoming flammable. So if this person is not good with certain levels of intimacy, there's a lot revealed when two people move in together. You basically get to start seeing, it's going to take a while. Okay. Probably 3 years, because they typically, even if there's stuff that, we could keep that under wraps 1 to 2 years. But at the 3rd year, they say, research shows, statistics show, by the 3rd year, you're really seeing it all. Well, that's a lot of work. So if this individual had things they didn't want you to see, there's a lot of stress, the idea of that level of intimacy, because, things are going to come out. And I think while that's there, a bigger issue could be that if we move in together, it could be that you are feeling very much that you're not being heard. So if you see any patterns now in the relationship, say the relationship has gone like a year and a half, year and 8 months, ballpark, something like that. Right around that time, if you really have a strong pattern of understanding that this person often doesn't hear you or is deliberately misunderstanding you or has learned helplessness or plays the victim and doesn't do the work they need to be doing on their end to contribute to themselves in the relationship, okay? This could come up in the household as weaponized incompetence. And nothing's going to feed the flame of anger, you know what I mean, than that. And I think you would have to be very structured in the way that we know exactly what needs to be done in the home, who needs to be doing it, when it needs to be done, even maybe how it needs to be done. I mean, there would have to be strict organization there. And it's very possible, again, that they're not entirely interested in all of that. So it's really debatable. Okay, as far as the moving in together is concerned. And I think that the staying together part is determined, which sounds backward, but it's determined on whether or not you guys choose to live together. So this is just an example, but it may play out something to this tune. Oh, okay. You don't ever want to like cohabitate, or, you seem to be having a lot of strong reactions, negative reactions. We're having a lot of fighting, you're kind of disappearing. You're walling me out every time the possibility of us moving in together comes up. Then you would want to really say at that point, maybe we're not both looking for the same thing. Maybe this isn't working, so we'll see. We'll see what happens with the move-in part. And then that will dictate whether the relationship lasts or not. A lot going on there though, for sure. And yeah, it's a possibility. Yeah. 100%. Christina, come on down from there. Thank you. Okay. Christina has a $5 question. And she wants to know, today is my birthday and my ex messaged. Of course they did. My ex messaged me. Is there any motive behind it? You know exactly what motive is behind that. Happy birthday. You just say, I know, another amazing year of me, bye now. Yeah. Yeah. The motivation, yeah, is to, they want to get their ego stroked. They want you to pay attention to them. You want to feed into it. They're trying to open up a dialogue that is just more of that. This is the kind of person who will be like asking you how your day went only so they could talk about theirs, or saying happy birthday only so they could trauma dump on you, or asking what's up with this only so they could turn it back around onto themselves. I hate those people so much. I can't even tell you how annoying, because it's like you've been duped. You're really hating yourself. This is a trick. It's always a trick with this person. Anything in the universe, right, that this person interacts with is geared toward themselves. There's no higher vibration here. So there's no attempt at giving like genuine love and affection to you, even on your birthday, right? Which is offensive. But it is an opportunity for this person to see if they can sort of reconnect with you and reattach those cords and keep you, on that line. And I think that, you don't need any more proof that this is how they function. But, if you were to continue to engage with it from here, it would just be more like pop-ins, random texts like, oh, I was just thinking about you. Or you maybe get some late night stuff, you get some inappropriate stuff, definitely they'll try to move this in. It almost reminds me of like, also like, I'm trying to have sex with you, but I'm trying to act like I'm not. I'm like, who are you kidding? So it is what it is. Yeah, you're right. Happy birthday to you. You deserve it. Be like, I know. All right. Happy birthday, Christina. Can we all give her some love for representing, okay, every holiday, every birthday, right? When do they reach out? Always. They will always see if they can get back in because of something like that when they should be messaging on a regular Tuesday with something substantial to say. Okay. But they can't do that. Jen has a $10 question. And her question is, what do you see for me in the next couple of months? I would like to know if I start my business, will it be successful? Where did this come from? So we're doing relationship questions. I'll go ahead and answer this, but yeah, that's another show, Mary. So what do you see for me in the next couple months? I would like to know if I start my business, will it be successful? Okay. Let's say your relationship to money. I could see this, how this fits. The next few months, it seems like you're digging deep. It seems like you're digging a lot and you're not necessarily pulling up any gems. You're not necessarily harvesting anything. You're not necessarily getting a lot out of it. Now, that doesn't mean you aren't doing what you're supposed to do. So don't be surprised if for the next few months, especially the third month out, you feel like you're digging at the soil and it's like, oh my God, there's nothing in here, Well, you're like, what do they say? Tilling the land, or you're tilling the soil, or you're getting rid of the rocks. You're getting rid of the crap. You're getting rid of the stuff in the dirt. If you've ever tried to grow a garden in your yard and you think that just because you bought a house with a little teeny piece of land, you're going to be, it doesn't work that way. You have to get that land ready. Okay. Sometimes you get lucky, but there's prep that has to not only happen, but be maintained. And it has to allow for almost you to connect to the project in a way that you haven't yet, where you're realizing that this is like your baby. This is your child. This is your investment. You do a lot of work in situations like this, and it's thankless a lot of the time, right? So it's like, this is preparing you to have the stamina to be in it for the long haul. Now, this also comes up before that. So I wouldn't be surprised if, yes, you're feeling that at the third month out, but even if you're feeling it like this month and next month, there's another episode where that's going on, maybe in 2 weeks ballpark. Now, what does this mean? Well, you have the potential to make it successful, but if you get sidetracked, so if you lose focus, if you allow yourself to feel defeated or become double-minded, where you say, oh, maybe this isn't for me, maybe this isn't what I was supposed to be doing, then it will not happen. Also, I see vultures trying to come in, almost like I see scarecrow. And this idea of like the scarecrow having all of these crows come in to peck at its hay or whatever. And you're into eat, okay, the vegetables and so whatever's growing in this field. And it's like, okay, the scarecrow really isn't doing its job. It was supposed to scare off the crows, and it isn't. Not only is it not, it's also getting pecked at. Well, there is the potential, if you become unfocused, if you give up, if you become double-minded, if you're not actively being willing to put in the work without the big payout for a while, that the vultures will come. And the vultures are going to steal everything. This could be competitors. This could be others who would not have been competitors, but now they are. This could just be, you having difficulty for the next couple years that you wouldn't have normally had, because these things are gaining ground. You have to know in business, you can't stop. You cannot. Okay. So be realistic about what you're trying to do here. And I think it will, absolutely work out for you. But I also think that you need to be able to, how do I want to say this? You need to have the right advisors. I just started watching Game of Thrones, and I hadn't ever watched it because it was so sad when they beheaded the father in the first season. It was like even the first maybe episode or something. I don't know. That like made me sick to my stomach, and I never ended up watching it until fairly recently. And I just started watching it again, and I'm realizing that my biggest takeaway from watching this incredible series and the beautiful artwork and the amazing costume work and all of it, right? What my biggest takeaway is the way every single individual, except for the bonehead son who got killed by poison, the blonde kid with the blue eyes, the king, Jeffrey, except for him. And he represented the polar opposite of what I'm about to say. And that's why. Bad karma, bad juju. Everyone else has advisors. They're either pretending that they do, They do. There's so much communication and consultation going on the entire movie from every angle that it's like really brilliant, this intricate design and context. And I think you need to have that. Long story short. Okay. I think you need to have that. You need consultants, mentors, guidance. Okay. And don't reinvent the wheel. All right. We're going to move on to another one. Good luck with that. Our next question is, okay. No? Do we have no more? Are we at time? Okay, we are at time. Awesome. Thank you so much, Mary, my beautiful producer. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. If you need a money, career reading, if you need a love and relationship reading, past life reading, life contract reading, paranormal consult, pet readings, okay, read your living or deceased pets, or just a basic psychic mediumship reading, where we can cover all of that. As well as parties, events, and psychic fairs. You can go to Rivera Psychic Medium.com. And if you are, especially in the Middle East, but outside my time zone in any way where the self-booking system doesn't work, get a video reading. So I will just record it and send it right to you. Thank you so much, everybody. See you soon. Where are you?